So it's been a very interesting year this year, in music licensing especially. But things have already changed for me, most for the better, and I'm going to share those numbers with you today. However, I am going to move away from the exact numbers and take a little bit bigger 36,000 foot view, which I think will give you more to take away from this year's numbers. This was the year, finally, in year 4, mind you, that sync licensing for TV and film and ads, that income has finally started to go up. And so that has been an exciting thing. We're going to talk about that and where that money is coming from. Also, what about stock music? What about stock licensing of music for YouTube and things like that? Is that still a thing? Well, a few places are, especially with AI money coming into the picture. So we're going to talk about that today. What about other non-exclusive sites like SongTrader and AudioSparks? And what in the wide world is going on with Content ID? I'm trying to identify the problem. But today we are going to talk about all of these licensing sources and how they are flowing for me, what's working for me, and what's not working for me. And maybe, just maybe, that will guide you a bit on where to concentrate your energies to make music income in 2025. Well, welcome to the Make Music Income podcast. My name is Eric Copeland, and this is a show where we talk about music income every Friday, live at noon. We'll see if that keeps up in the new year as things are getting crazy, and we're going to talk about that today. But because it's a changing world of music and music income out there, especially with music licensing and with music royalties, with anybody who's trying to be a composer or an arranger or a producer or an artist or figure out how to make and sell things like sheet music or music in general, music teachers, music church people, any way to make music income. We try to talk about it. We try to get to the bottom of it. We're investigating at all times how to make more music income. That's what today's show is about. How did I do in licensing last year? Let's talk about it and kind of get an overall view and where things fell off and where things took off. And as usual, this show is sponsored by MakeMusicIncome.com, where you can find all our free stuff. As a matter of fact, you can just go to MakeMusicIncome.com/free. Free ebooks, free courses, and one-on-one music coaching. I also have a program that I have been doing for the past 3 months, and it is working like gangbusters. It's called Positive Spin Partners, where we are working together with you to compose and create and produce music and then pitch it and get it in libraries. We just had another album signed last week. So I think that's 3 or 4 albums we've had signed. And that's not even talking about the briefs that are coming in that also my partners are helping me with. So it's getting crazy. Check out the description for all of these links. You can find free stuff. And also, just so you know, if you are interested in any courses or in coaching, there is pricing, holiday pricing that's going on for the next few more days until we reach the end of this holiday season. And you can get everything at about 25% off. So make sure you go down. If you're thinking about coaching, trying to figure out what to do. I have several people who have come to me and said, I got to figure out what to do for 2025. I got to figure out this licensing thing. I need some input. And so that's what we're doing with our coaching. If you're interested, just go down into the description. You'll find information about that. And also follow us wherever you hang out. Do you know we are on all the places? We're hip. We are with it. We are at all the places that you might be. We have shorts that are on YouTube. every day. We have Instagram Reels going on. We have TikTok going on. We are on X. Kind of, if you're on X or Facebook, we have a Facebook page and we have X and nobody's there. It's like crickets. But I just don't hang out there, so that's probably why. And we're also on LinkedIn, so follow me on LinkedIn. Make sure that if you want a connection on LinkedIn, just message me and we will get involved on LinkedIn, and you can follow everything that we do there as well. We're going to skip a few things that we usually do, like Eric's Week. No reason to do Eric's Week this week because it's been Christmas. And I've been kind of taking this week off a little bit. And maybe I hope you have too. And I hope you had a Merry Christmas and great holidays. We're also going to skip the news because all of this today is about the news. And today we're going to get right to my music licensing in 2024. And it's a little different show today. And it's going to be a little different for the next few weeks because the next few podcasts are going to be very focused on kind of leaving 2024 behind in our dust and moving into 2025. So we're going to be talking about next week about what you made in 2025. I'm going to do some surveys. You might see some surveys coming around. I do these every year where I try to find out where people were making money last year in music. And then we talk about it next week. And so you'll see that. And then I also have another video that's going to air in January called How I Plan to Make Music Income in 2025, talking about my evil genius plan for 2025. And I have another video called How to Make Music Income in 2025. That's going to be an edited video. So a lot of video, a lot more than I really have time to be doing because of this right here. Music licensing income is my goal. And I don't know about you, but this is what I want to be doing with my time. So in order to save us a little time today, I made a little presentation because, I do that kind of thing. Let's talk about my music income in 2024. So basically, we're talking mainly about music licensing in this video. I may or may not do a video about all the music incomes I did because some of those were not that interesting. Teaching was one of them in 2024, and this channel, which is not that interesting, and also because I don't want to get into being a YouTuber and all that. And of course, also music services for clients and partners. And so that is a big part of what I do. But today we're talking about music licensing income. So why do I talk about this? Well, the reason I talk about this is because you are likely watching this channel trying to figure out how that you can get into music licensing. There was a time when my focus was, how do I get into this? And now I'm 8 years into this and 4 years into being in libraries and sync licensing and also in other kinds of licensing. We're going to talk about this, but I talk about this so that you can get an idea of what's working right now at the end of 2024, going into 2025, what I've seen work this year and what I haven't. So that's what I want to talk about. We're going to talk about sync licensing. And if you don't really know what sync licensing is all about getting music into libraries or getting them into places, people like sync agents and music supervisors who can use them in television and film, working with ad agencies to get your music into ads and or video games. And that's one thing we're going to talk about today. The next thing we're going to talk about is non-exclusive licensing income, which could mean stock music licensing. Is non-exclusive stock music licensing still working? And if it is, what is working in that? So we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to talk about other income sites like SongTrader, like AudioSparks. There's a bunch of them. And there's a bunch of sites you can be involved with. You likely are involved with many different sites. And we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about Content ID. And, this is one of those, things that we've got to have a talk about because I am not that high on Content ID right now. As you'll see, the numbers have fallen precipitously, as we say. You may not say that, but I say that. And then we're going to talk about performance royalties. Very exciting numbers there. Sync royalties, exciting numbers there. and mechanical royalties, as well as sales. So I'm going to cover all of those. And I'm just getting you ready because the next screen is a lot, okay? But here, we're going to first get into non-exclusive income. And there's a reason I'm doing this because I want to get this out of the way before we start to get into the sync income and how that's happened. But, boom, non-exclusive income in 2024. I have to say that this still made a lot of money for me. And if you think $3,000 in a year is a lot. And what's funny is that's about what it made last year. And as you can see here, I basically am laying out where everything came from. And as you see the big blue motion array right there, that's where I made the greatest percentage of my income from non-exclusive income. What do I mean by non-exclusive? I mean, everyone can use this music. I can put it on Motion Array. I can put it on Pond 5. I can put it on Audio Jungle. I can put it on Song Trader. I can put it in Content ID. I can put it on Arrange Me. I can put it on Audio Sparks. I can put it on hundreds of other places. I could pitch it myself to sync agents or music supervisors. I could do a lot with it. The only thing I can't do with non-exclusive songs that are in all of these places is put them in exclusive libraries. So this is the way that a lot of people tell me that you should be doing licensing, is non-exclusively. These are not people who are sending music to exclusive libraries that are locking these songs up for 3 years or 5 years or for perpetuity, which really scares people a lot when they have to think about their songs being exclusive to one company for the rest of their lives. But that's kind of standard in publishing in most cases. But in this case, we're talking about non-exclusive income. I can bring in and pull out, for the most part, in most of these sites, the songs. So Motion Array did very well for me this year. A 24% increase with Motion Array this year. And I didn't do anything different. As a matter of fact, I only put up about 16 new songs. It may have been less than that. I think it was 10 to 15 new songs this year in Motion Array. Apparently, what I have in there just has done better in 2024 than it did in 2023, to the tune of really making about $20 more a month from Motion Array. Also, Pond 5 has gone up a lot. It's gone up by about $300, $400. And the main reason it went up is because we all got paid extra money for AI and the data set earnings in Pond 5. So as you can see in Pond 5, I'm up 61%. Now, is that as a payment like we got this year where I got, let's see, $599 from Pond 5 ever going to happen again? The month before I had made $15, and the month after I made $11, but in October I made $600. So you can't really say that you can depend on this. And this was a payment that we had seen another payment like this from Pond 5, but it was last year sometime. I think it was 18 months ago before that. So yes, Pond 5 went up. And as you can see, when I'm looking at my non-exclusive income, this includes all of my stock libraries, which is what Motion Array is, which is what Pond 5 is, which is what Audio Jungle is, which is what Deposit Photos. You see up there in the corner that I made, that went up 997%. Well, that's because it made $25 this year. So you could just see that I didn't make much, if anything, last year in Deposit Photos. But 123 RF and Dreams Time both paid some pennies. But if you look over to the left in the purple, you'll see all the stock libraries that I'm in that made nothing, zero in 2024. Absolutely nothing. And I did add a few to Motion Elements, but I didn't add any to the rest of them. But it doesn't matter. I don't add to things that aren't making me money. So I have stopped doing that. I'm still averaging $244 a month. That may go up. I don't have the final numbers, by the way, for December. So it could definitely go up from here and up to about $250, which is still a $20 raise from last year a month that I made from non-exclusive income. Besides Motion Array and Pond 5, you can see Audio Jungle went up 9%. Audio Jungle won't mean much to you unless you're in it. If you're not in Audio Jungle, they closed their doors 3 years ago and have not opened them to new authors. So you can't get in that. Song Trader is down a little bit. If you want to know what Song Trader is, it is a place where you can put your songs to hopefully be used in some kind of production. I would imagine people download things to use on YouTube there, but supposedly it's also a place to license your music out to television shows. I think the real number is up here, is in Content ID. And this is the one that is most disappointing to me and most irritating to me, is what has happened to Content ID. You can see it there, minus 73% from last year. It was my second most income source, you could say, from non-exclusive music. And this year, it's completely down. And what's funny is I put out a short today on it. I have the most, and it's still not a lot, only about 600-700 videos being claimed. That's the most I've ever had. But my payments are down in the double digits, low double digits. There was months last year where I was making hundreds of dollars a month. And that was on many less claims. So Content ID, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with that. And also, I am definitely still considering taking my music out of Identify and seeing if it does better somewhere else. Song Trader has its own Content ID that you can take stuff in and out. Content ID through Identify, where I do it now, is a 3-year deal. So they have agreed to take my stuff out by February. I have to decide if I want to do that. I didn't mean to take my stuff out by February, but they have. Arrange Me is one that is way up. Now, this is non-exclusive income. This is more really mechanical income. I include it in this sheet just to keep an eye on it, but it has really gone up. And talk about something that I need to focus more on. All of these other things that you see surrounding this big circle, this and all this stuff, and even some of this stuff, and maybe even Content ID stuff, maybe even Song Trader. Arrange Me, sheet music is where I need to be concentrating in 2025, and that is one of my goals. So I am trying to find someone who is interested in being a positive spin partner with me, but who can also make sheet music up real quick. If this is you, you might want to get in touch with me through email and go to the website, because we might be able to work out a little something, because I need to get all my piano music. Right now, I probably have about 5% of my music out that I could have on Arrange Me. And a lot of it is searchable and findable, and that just keeps growing. Look at that, 264% up. So I definitely need to go up. Audio Sparks is the last thing I'll talk about here on this screen. That is one that's up 31%. That's not much, because it still only made me about $107. So it's gone up from last year when it made $81. But Audio Sparks is a lot. There's a lot to put in that, just like Song Trader. You got to put in a lot of fields in there to get that kind of rocking. And I'm just not really sure that is something that I want to fool around with. If you're looking to figure out what to do in 2025 with non-exclusive income, let me first suggest Pond 5, and then suggest after that trying to get into Motion Array. I think those are the two biggest and most active stock libraries. And especially if you're someone who's a little new to all this and you're trying to figure out where to get started, I think Pond 5 and Motion Array are absolutely the best places, and probably going to bring you the most income that you can get into today, that are possible to get into. A year ago, I would have told you, make sure you also sign up to Identify and Content ID. I don't know if I can say that now. Laura says, can you recommend music libraries? Yes, I can. I will tell you, remember last week I told you in the news that my friend Jesse has the new music library directory. You might want to check that out. You'll find that in the information below. That's the best place to find music libraries for exclusive music libraries. There's non-exclusive libraries in there too, but that's the one I would suggest. So go down in the description and I would say find that. Cloud9 says, looking forward to the survey. Will it be in the Discord? Yeah, it'll be everywhere. He's asking about the survey I said I was going to do to see how you are making music income. I send that out through the Discord. I send that out through my email list. Make sure you're on the email list. I'll put a word out to everybody on YouTube as well. Mark Russian says, hit the like button. Yeah, everybody hit the like button. We need people coming to see these numbers and to see this video, because I think this is going to be an important video for people to see and where the money is coming from, because money is coming from specific places, at least in the non-exclusive side. And guess what? These two places are where it's mostly come from over the past 4 years. Audio Jungle is another one. Song Trader is another one. Those, you can see that swath here from Motion Array all the way around to Song Trader. That big bunch is the reason I'm making what I make. Now, there are people who make way more than $244 a month. There are people in here making $500,000 a month on non-exclusive libraries, including Motion Array, Pond5. And I haven't even talked about Artlist, which I am not in, but the people who are in Artlist are right now in December seeing a great big payment because they only pay once a year. Gregory Webb says, I'm new to all this. I just had 82 songs listed on Pond5, but no sales yet. I am submitting to Motion Array today. Any tips? Yes, I do have tips for you when you are submitting to Motion Array. Make sure that you are sending 5 of your best songs, and make sure you send 5 songs, and that they are absolutely the best songs you've got. Do they need to be in the same genre? No, I don't think so. But they do need to all be quality. It helps too if they think they might be searchable, and that someone might put in a search for a certain thing. You know, you'll see sales eventually. It only takes a few weeks to start seeing sales. It can be slow. I've got 300 something songs on Pond5, and I don't see sales for days. But with the new thing that's happening with Pond5, with their, if you've opted into their AI use, and there's really no reason you shouldn't, you could be, those 82 songs could make you 10 times that in data set earnings. So just keep that in mind. Kevin G says, I'm in Pond5, but do you have to promote your artist profile, or does Pond5 offer promotion? Pond5 is a library that people search. So I don't know who you would promote it to. Promoting a Pond5 thing makes no sense, because people only go to Pond5 when they need something. And if they don't need something, seeing a promotion for something they don't need is not, I mean, how often do you need a stock picture, a stock photo, or a stock video? Well, you need a stock photo or a stock video when you're making a presentation or you're making a video or something. So in the same way, people are only going to go to Pond5 when they are looking for something to make, and they need some music, and they're going to go and search for what they search for. So there's just really no way, I don't think, to promote your artist profile. 5Eva says, could you clarify non-exclusive income? Well, it's pretty much what you see here. All of these sites, motionarray.com is a site, pond5.com is a site, audiojungle.com is a site, songtrader.com. All of these things are non-exclusive, which means I can put the same songs in Motion Array that I put in Pond5, that I put in Audio Jungle, that I put in Song Trader, that I put in Content ID, that I put in Arrange Me, that I put in, all these things are non-exclusive. I can do whatever I want to with those songs. They're not exclusive to one of those sites. They're not exclusive to Motion Array. They're not exclusive. You can be exclusive with Pond5, but you don't have to. You can be exclusive with Audio Jungle, but you don't have to. And the smarter move, I think, is not to be exclusive in these kind of libraries, so that you can put them in all the places, so that all the libraries could, there'd be lots of opportunity for each song. And that's why a lot of people love non-exclusive work and don't want to get into exclusive library deals, because they want to be able to share that song everywhere and with everyone. And there's a certain logic to that. And there are some people who believe very, very strongly about that. But then there are people who are like me, who think it's easier for me to find a library who likes my stuff, an exclusive library, write an album for them, put that out there, and that's a place, because I know that people are searching that library probably more than they're searching this. And I also know that they're searching those exclusive libraries for songs that are going to go on television versus non-exclusive libraries like these are more for YouTube and for uses like that, or for uses in presentations and things. So most of these things that you see here, especially the first big three, Motion Array, Pond 5, and Audio Jungle, are definitely for people who are trying to find pieces of music to use for a YouTube video or some kind of presentation or something. Now, as you go up, SongTrader does play a little bit in the sync licensing television pool, and so does AudioSpark, supposedly. The first year I was with AudioSparks in 2021, I had 200 plus sales that were used in a TV commercial and some other TV show. Since then, I've only seen streaming type numbers from them. So I don't make but about 10 to 15 bucks a month from AudioSparks because of that. And there might have to be a change there, or I just stop putting stuff there. Mara says, I got approved on Identify today, and 5 of my songs have also been approved. However, when I upload those songs on YouTube for testing, I did not receive any claims. It's not really going to work that way. This isn't a place for you to go get claims on your music. It's a place for other people to get claims on music. However, and I think I have a whole show on this coming up, I am starting to doubt Content ID. That's just between me and you. I am starting to have my doubts about not just Identify necessarily, but Content ID in general. It's all run by YouTube. And I did some tests. Speaking of my friend Matthias, I did some tests on some songs we had done that are in Motion Array and that he has put in Content ID. I put them up on my YouTube channel, a separate YouTube channel, and they did not generate any claims, which they should have. Because then I went and did some more testing, and I couldn't generate any claims either. So I am starting to have my doubts about Content ID, my friends. I just don't know. I'm going to have to do some more research on it. I'm seeing lots of videos using 600 or 700 videos use my stuff in August, and I made $11. And last year I had a third of that or a sixth of that, and I made hundreds of dollars. Something has changed, and I don't like it, and I don't know what it is. Kevin G says, Motion Array also likes vocals too. They really do. And they've even come to me and asked me to put vocals on songs that they wanted to approve. So that's kind of interesting. Mirage says, sir, I have submitted my songs on Motion Array, but it's been 20 days, and my queue number has only moved. All right, so it is very slow, and it's especially when you first join. It took me maybe a few months to get into Motion Array. And you can email them, but you might as well just be patient. As people will tell you here, sometimes it just takes a while because they have a lot of music they have to get through and listen to. So it could take a lot of time. You have to be patient there. So getting back to the presentation here, I want to talk about non-exclusive income as a whole and how I have seen that. This is all my non-exclusive income for the past 4 years, starting with my first year in it, which was 2021. Now, 2021 is very tainted because Motion Array paid a lot more in 2021. If anybody was around for the Motion Array 2021 year, it was glorious. I remember when I first got signed up to that and I started making just dollars per day, and I was like, how is this even possible? Every day I'd look and there's more dollars. And it was very well paying. I think I made at least almost twice as much as I ever made on it before. But in 2022, that changed. They were bought by Artlist and they changed their payout way. So as you can see, there was a big drop there. And then in 2023, it dropped a little, not as precipitous as this one here. Precipitous is the word of the day, by the way. Not as precipitous as this drop from 21 to 22, but from 21 to 23, it was a smaller drop. But look at 2024. 2024 has come up from 2023, and I didn't put that many more songs in there. Now, again, this is mostly due to these two places right here, Motion Array and Pond 5, having very big gains. I know that Arrange Me had a big gain, but that wasn't much money. It was about $100 total, and this deposit photo is only about $25. So those numbers really don't matter. What does matter is these two. These two were instrumental in things all going up. A lot of things went up, as you can see. Only SongTrader and Content ID went drastically down. So that's why I'm not bigger than a 4% raise this year on non-exclusive income. But every year it has gone down until this year. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but I saw non-exclusive income go up in 2024, which is kind of crazy. That's non-exclusive income, and you can go back and look at that if you want to. And again, Motion Array and Pond 5, the really big stars there. Content ID, the really mystery item. Why is this going down? And it might be that I'm just not putting enough stuff into Motion Array and Pond 5. I know that I did take a bunch of stuff out of Pond 5 for a few months this year because of the issues with AI. Everybody was wondering, should we keep our stuff up? Should we take it down? I think I took some personal stuff down out of Pond 5 and probably about 100 songs, but I ended up putting them all back up. So we'll see if Content ID rebounds, but right now I'm not that happy with it. But I am happy to see that 2024 came up just a little bit in non-exclusive income. That's a plus, especially when I haven't been paying that much attention to it. So that tells me that it's not completely dead yet. I think these two, especially if you're new, to get into these two is the big game. I don't know if there's really anybody, if anybody disagrees with me, besides Artlist, which is a different kind of animal. If you're in anything else, if you're in Motion Elements, Yummy Sounds is my favorite, Jamendo, The Music Case, 100 Audio, VFine, Deposit Photos, 123RF for Dreamtime, and you're making a lot of money, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, I'd like to know about it because I don't see it. All right, now let's get to what is the most interesting to me, which is my music royalty income in 2024. Now, this is not necessarily non-exclusive or exclusive. This is just royalties, what my royalties have done. And you'll see the biggest part of the pie, and I need to tell you that sync royalties do include the money I was just talking about, the non-exclusive money, because I see anything come from Motion Array or Pond 5 as being used synced with video, even if it's on YouTube. So I count those as sync royalties. But still, my sync royalties are down. And you're saying, how can your sync royalties be down if you went up in non-exclusive income? Well, the reason for that is that this year, sync licensing income, or sync, what we call sync royalties, which is something that the libraries give us, they are getting money from TV shows. So if a TV show has $1,000 to spend, they will give that $1,000 to the library, and the library will split that with us, supposedly. And that payment only comes a couple times a year. This year, that decreased for me from about almost $600 down to $300 and something. So sync royalties went down. Now, again, I'm not at the end of the year. There's a library or two that I might still receive some sync royalties to before the end of the year. A lot of times they end up paying at the end of the year. And I also have to say that SongTrader, which was down, if we go back to the presentation, SongTrader, which was down, might go up because they usually have a payment for me at the end of the year, and I don't get that till like the 30th of December. It comes in on the very last day. But sync royalties was down 6%, about the same as last year. And this brings up another video. Besides Content ID video, I want to do a video about sync royalties. And so at some point, that's going to come about. But if you look, the big winner here, the biggest winner of this whole presentation is performance royalties. 705% increase. And as I talked about when it happened, a lot of those performance royalties, half of what I made in my writers' BMI royalties, I made in my publisher's royalties. And the reason for that is a little tricky. The reason for that is because I actually made money with a song. And if you remember a little bit times back in October when I got my first 4-figure check, I made about $2,000 or $3,000, about $2,500 from a song that apparently was downloaded from someplace. It was either downloaded from Motion Array, Pond 5, and it wasn't downloaded from Audio Jungle. It possibly could have been downloaded from SongTrader, but most likely and Audio Sparks, I guess, is a possibility. But I'm more thinking it was Motion Array, because Motion Array, it's very hard to tell where things are going, who downloaded it for what. Pond 5, you usually see a sale. Audio Jungle, you'll see a sale. And I've seen sales before that then are used in TV. Well, this was definitely a song that was downloaded and then used on Fox and Friends for 3 or 4 shows. And that made thousands of dollars in the 3 or 4 shows it made. So I think a big part of this 705% raise in performance royalties is that. But still, even without that, it would have been a gigantic leap in performance royalties for me in 2024. And to me, this is very exciting, because this means sync is working, especially when I look at all the payments that are from TV shows that are using my songs that are in exclusive libraries. And there's still a lot to come in. That I had some big placements this year. One on another cable channel that I haven't seen yet. One on CBS at the beginning of the year that I'm still trying to wonder if there was money from that, and still trying to talk to that library. And they will get an email from me, as a matter of fact, today about, hey, what about the sync royalties for that song in 2024? Because it was used in a national NFL CBS commercial. So where is the money for that? But I'm very encouraged because of that raise. And I'll show you the growth in performance royalties here in a second. And it's pretty impressive. Mechanical royalties were up. And if you're wondering what mechanical royalties are, well, mechanical royalties are the MLC, which really pays you for mechanical royalties that you get by putting stuff on Spotify. Quite a good raise there. It was up 529%. Now, don't get too excited. It started at $7, so it was up to about $50 this year. Music reports, I don't have the information on, and it doesn't look like it made me anymore. Arrange Me, I count as mechanicals because it's sheet music, and so that was up 576%. At least that's what I had. I think on my other one it was up differently. But anyway, mechanical royalties are up, and surprisingly, for no apparent reason, sales were up. And you're like saying, where do you sell your music that's not on these non-exclusive libraries? Well, CD Baby, I have several accounts for my jazz music and my piano music on there. So I have 2 DistroKid accounts, and all of those made a 21% increase. So at least up till now, it could be even more by the time of the end of this year. So very exciting about those things, but nothing is as exciting as this one right here. We all are hoping that performance royalties, BMI royalties, are what will increase, and to have them increase 705%. I think this is finally the time when this is happening. Look at this. This is the past 3 years in performance royalties. 2022, 23, and now look at 2024. That's how big a difference. And if I look at that across the past few years, performance royalties have just been climbing for 4 years straight. And this year they just took off. Now, again, a big push of that, a big part of that, maybe half of it is due to that one thing. But folks, it only takes one. It only takes one song to really perform and make you several $1,000s. And sometimes it can even make you more than that. Just ask my friend Marcus, who saw that happen with a whole season on an MTV show or a trailer that he got. So just one song being used a lot and being reported back to your PRO can be a big difference maker. Cloud9 says, all my stock and royalty income has gone way up. That's fantastic. Well, that's because I believe, Cloud9, you are just feeding that beast. You have to feed that beast. We've talked about that all year, and we've seen all my numbers are up. Guess what? I'm feeding the beast on the sync side more than I'm feeding the other side. It just so happens that they would be up. Performance royalties would be sync placements. For the most part, performance royalties, which are paid to your PRO like BMI, are coming from television shows that are reporting that it's so many minutes of a show, and then that is then being reflected in how many, $35 here or $20 here or $100 here. and that is being reflected. Performance royalties, though, can also be radio placements. It can also be Spotify and stuff like that. Cloud9 says, he's not lying. I had one song this year that generated $14,000 this year. Yeah, I had one song, which was a simple piano version of the national anthem that generated $2,400, I think, total. And that doesn't include all that it's made me on all the libraries through the years. So to finish out this particular thing, mechanical royalties also went up. And again, these are things for MLC, music reports, Harry Fox, if you're part of that. And everything is going up. Sales went up, which is very exciting. So everything is going up and up and up. And I think we're not in a down time with music. We're in you got to put stuff out in music. And I think most of the people I talk to, the biggest problem they have is they haven't put anything out. And you see people like Cloud9 that are doing some of their best work and having stuff make them $14,000 on a track. Well, that wouldn't have generated $14,000 had he not put it out there. And so I think sometimes we are just not putting out enough stuff, and we've got to put out more. All right, so let's wrap up here. What worked for me and what is still working for me in 2024 and on into 2025? Well, number one, sync licensing is working. Sync licensing is bringing in more PRO income. My performance royalties were up 705%. I mean, you can't argue with that. Can you imagine if next year they go up from here? And this is what we're all looking for. We're all looking for this arc of things going up. But that jump from 2023 to 24 is just crazy. And it's not only because of that one big placement. Still, even if I took that out, it would still be a giant leap. It'd probably be about half of this, maybe. No, not even half. A little more than half. Still, that would be a great big jump. So, yeah, sync licensing and performance royalties are up. Sync royalties were down. And again, this is another show, but I'm questioning sync royalties, and I know that there are some people who trade out their sync royalties for work for hire. I would be willing to do that, to be honest with you. And I know a lot of people say not to do that, but I'd be interested, Cloud9 or anyone else, if you've traded out your sync royalties, or if you've seen sync royalties go up. Obviously, you did on that one song, just like he found out, can be a big difference maker on sync royalties. Motion Array. I'm going to stick with Motion Array. As a matter of fact, I'll announce here next week how I'm going to make money in 2025, my goals. And Motion Array and Pond5 are part of that, and I'll explain that because both of them were up so significantly. Don't know if the AI income that we all made from Pond5 is going to continue to go up like it did last year and give us a big month, especially now that they are cutting back our rates. The data set earnings are also being cut down from what I understand was 40% down to 20%. So I think that's being cut in half. Now, even if that was cut in half, if each of us made half of what we made and we didn't know that, if I didn't know $600 were coming and I got $300 from them, I still would have been like, wow, I got $300 from them. I still would have been kind of happy. And almost anybody who got a payment, if you split that in half and you didn't know the bigger payment was coming, you probably still would have been happy. So Motion Array and Pond5 are no-brainers. Pond5 is how I start all when I'm putting stuff into non-exclusive. I go to Pond5 first, and then I go to Motion Array mainly because Pond5, as you know, if you've ever watched me before, it kind of works as my database for everything. And then it goes directly into Motion Array and my PRO, actually. Those are the first three things I do. Mechanicals, I will continue to put stuff on Spotify. That worked a little bit for me, and that's not a very big income. Neither is sales. Arrange Me and sheet music, though, is starting to be an income, up 233%, and this is something that I long to do. The problem for me is that sheet music is very tedious. It takes a lot of time. So this is something that I hope, and I could see that this could be the biggest gainer again in 2025 if I can put together a team and or find time to do sheet music, at least one piece of sheet music a week, get 50 to 100 more out there in 2025. That would be helpful. Sales were up for who knows why. I guess I think they're up a little bit because one of the pluses of sync licensing that is I'm starting to find is that people are Shazamming things. I have a new phone. I'm using it right now, so I can't show it to you. But it's got a button that I can just use now, the brand new 16, that is just to set for something, and I set it for Shazam. And so I can automatically, if I hear a song on TV, I can push that button. It's going to listen to what's being played on television. And people do that, and they find out what the song is, and then they go and they stream it at Spotify or wherever. And I think some of these sales, this 21% up on sales, is due to that, and is also due to other songs being heard. And so that's exciting that sales are up as well. All right, now let's talk about what's not working. What's not working is Content ID. I think I've made that pretty clear. So maybe it's time for me to make a change and move away from Identify and maybe try AdRev or go Content ID-less. Go naked Content ID. Maybe that's what I need to do. And so I'm going to have to try something different, though, because Content ID is not working. It's declining, or at least the sales from, I should say, Identify is not working for me right now. I think saying Content ID is not fair, but Identify, the company. Now, it also could be that I am not adding that much to all the stock libraries anymore. And if I am, it's only to Motion Array, Pond5, and Audio Jungle. And those are the three main ones. And Pond5 and Audio Jungle don't generate many sales, to be honest, because I am not doing hip hop or whatever kind of music that people like to put behind their videos. I do very specific genres, like classical, like hymns, like patriotic, and things like that. And so, and I only do what I want to do, as usual. And so sometimes that makes you less money when you do it that way. So down 72%, that's a problem. Got to figure that out and either get it fixed or get out of it. And do I continue with Identify or maybe try AdRev? I could also do my Content ID through SongTrader. They also let you just take stuff down and put it up. However, I think it takes a while to put it up. It has to be accepted and all that kind of stuff. So not sure if that's a good solution. AudioSparks also has a way to put it up. What also is not working is any stock library not named Motion Array or Pond5. Audio Jungle brings a little bit. If I look at my Audio Jungle numbers, it's in 4th place after Pond5 and Motion Array, Pond5, SongTrader, and Audio Jungle in that order. I'll probably still do that, and I'll still do SongTrader. I haven't really talked about SongTrader. I mostly make money from SongTrader by putting my library up there, putting all my non-exclusive songs up there. And they are used in these things they call monetization, which could be overhead music, which if you're in a store and you hear music, that's coming from somewhere. And they have I have some songs in their overhead rotation that pay me well all the time. I also have some distribution through them. And I paid them $50 for the year, and it's still worth it if I do the math for the split that I get there. So, but as far as stock libraries, Motion Array and Pond5 are the two I will continue to work with on Audio Jungle as well. Like I said, it's hanging on, and so I will continue. It doesn't take but a few minutes to put it in there, so I put it in all three. AudioSparks is on the hot seat with me. For all that it takes to put stuff in there, it's not making much money. Another problem with AudioSparks is once you put it in, you can't get it out. It's a perpetual deal. And so after the first year, I thought, hey, AudioSparks is the way to go. I did a video on it. And I said I had 2 big sales. I haven't seen any big sales since then. The only thing I've seen is what they call RadioSparks, which is they're like streaming. And that pays like streaming. And so I'm not so sure that I'll put more into AudioSparks. As a matter of fact, I may try to get everything out of AudioSparks and just be in RadioSparks only. SongTrader was down 6%. We'll see if that holds. Like I said, I may get a payment from them by the end of the year. But these things aren't working as well. It's no secret what is working the best. And for me, what is working the best is sync licensing, especially with performance royalties up 705%. That is what is working best for me. Cloud9 says same prices on Pond 5. He still keeps his stuff up at $49 because I make stuff most people don't. Afrobeat, dancehall, EDM, trap, hip hop, R&B. Majority of stuff on Pond 5 have cinematic, orchestral, corporate. So he's playing the expensive game on Pond 5, and apparently it is working. So that is cool. Mickey says, with AI on the rise, do you still think someone just starting out in sync could make a living with time and dedication? Of course I do. Especially, Mickey, if you are making music without AI tools, without loops, without MIDI loops, and I think we've got to get out of these loops. Quit buying loops and quit buying packages that you just press a button and it plays stuff. AI is only copying that stuff. They're not only copying that stuff, but that's something AI can do. What they can't do, got this for Christmas. Play your own percussion. I also got this for Christmas. Look at this. A kalimba. There is stuff that you can get. Oh, I also got this for Christmas. That's right, a mouth harp. I also got a new drum set that I play. I don't use the grooves that come with Easy Drummer 3. I play the drums that sound great, and I play them myself on the keyboard like a drummer would play. Or I hire a drummer, or I hire guitar players, or I hire bass players. Most libraries will tell you, you can fake the drums, you can fake the bass, nobody's going to know. Well, guess what? If you want to make a living and you want to stand out, you're going to have to do something other than use loops. And there are literally people using AI to make stuff. So if you want to be making a living with this, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a very long while. I'm 4 years in. I'm not making a living only on sync. And that likely won't happen. Well, I guess in a way you could say I am, because I work with a bunch of partners who pay me to help produce them. And so that's all going to sync. So in some ways you could say I am. But if you're just talking about PRO and sync licensing income only, you can. As long as you have like 2,000 songs out there. That's what it's going to take. Cloud9 says, I also pay attention to the briefs Pond 5 gives out every month too. See, Cloud9 is playing this game. He's pushing it. And he is really making it happen because he's paying attention to briefs. He's putting music out there that people want, not just what he wants to make. Cloud9 says, I'm really excited for this year. You and me both. I am super excited for 2025. I've got videos coming up over the next 3 weeks, so make sure you subscribe here, folks, because you're going to want to see, if you're just stumbling onto this live today, you're going to want to see what is coming up here in the next few weeks as I talk about the income that Cloud9 and other people are making. And not just me, but other people are making lots of this. But you see, this is why, because Cloud9 says, I have tons of tracks I plan on dropping this year and joining new libraries. Same. I'm working on albums. As soon as I get done with this, I'm going to go back to a 10-song brief that I have to finish for a library that has to be out in mid-January. And I've had close to 50 tracks accepted into libraries in the past month. Can you imagine if I can do that every month with my partners? Get 50 songs into libraries? I'm not even going to go there with what number that is. Mickey says, I sure am. I like to make my music from scratch. Yeah, you will. And libraries appreciate that. Two of the last albums I've had signed were a cello album with real cello and a Celtic album with real Irish harp and real penny whistle and other instruments. They love that kind of stuff because nobody's sending that to them. They're just sending them the same old MIDI loops and beats and all that kind of stuff. Which sync libraries work for me? Well, that changes from time to time. I have a library with BMG that does the best, and that's because they're BMG. It's in the BMG search. BMG is one of the big 4 libraries that exist out there, along with APM and Universal and Warner Chappell. And if you're lucky enough to be involved with one of those 4, those are where the majority of people probably go to search unless they have a favorite library of some kind. But if people, music supervisors, need to go somewhere trusted, they go to one of those big names. Tim Cran says, do you master your own tracks? I do. I wish that I didn't have to, but for budget reasons, there's just no time to go back and forth to a mastering engineer like there used to be. And plus, mastering has really changed because mastering used to be about mastering 10 songs together. And now it's more about each song gets mastered and it goes out. And so, yes, I do master my own tracks. I mainly use a couple of Waves plugins, and I also have Ozone, which is fantastic. Gregory says, have you had any success with disco.ac and their discovery service? I have a lot of success with Disco as a delivery service to pitch songs to libraries because it just looks and sounds so good. And because it puts all the keywords and everything on there. I'm seeing a lot of activity on my discovery, but I haven't had anybody contact me as far as I know through that. But I think it's only a matter of time. Cloud9 says, a nice tip is to put your contact information in your library profiles. I've had people sync companies and filmmakers hit me up for custom work and they have decent budgets. Great idea. I hope this has been helpful to you. As usual, I hope that everything that I've talked about has been helpful and maybe even inspirational to you, that you're a little excited about the possibilities of income that you see here. And it is totally possible. Check out all the information below. If you'd like to talk to me one-on-one and just get in touch and plan out your 2025. It's 25% off right now, as well as my courses, which you can start for free, by the way. Just go down below. You can start any course for free. See if you like it. And then also just go to makemusicincome.com and you can see all of our free ebooks and all that kind of stuff. I hope you got some valuable information and tips today to help you make the music you love to make. Be on the lookout this week for the surveys where I'm going to be asking what you made in 2024, and I'll reveal that information next week. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great day, and make sure you subscribe so you get all the tips all through the week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.